Everybody, so I thought it would be useful for me to post a lesson for this as well, with me reading the text for you in case you want some audiobook support, and also just to explain a couple of things about the story that might be confusing. So this is Flowers for Algernon. It's a short story, and you'll see right away that there's a lot of misspelled words, and that's not an accident. That's done on purpose to give you an idea of who our main character is. So we're going to be reading about a man named Charlie Gordon, who is an adult that has a very low IQ. And this story is about an experiment that is done on this man in order to make him more intelligent, and how that affects his life. It's one of my favorite short stories, so I'm actually really excited to be teaching this even though we're online and not near each other. And it's like a journal, so he's writing this as a progress report because he's been asked to as part of his experiment. But he writes it very much like a journal, so it explains everything that's going on in his life. So I'll start out with the first progress report. Mr. Strauss says I should write down what I think and everything that happens to me from now on. I don't know why, but he says it's important, so they will see if they will use me. I hope they use me. Miss Kenyon says maybe they can make me smart. I want to be smart. My name is Charlie Gordon. I am 37 years old, and 2 weeks ago was my birthday. I have nothing more to write now, so I will close for today. Progress Report 2, March 6th. I had a test today. I think I failed it, and I think that maybe now they won't use me. What happened is a nice young man was in the room, and he had some white cards with ink spilled all over them. He said, "Charlie, what do you see on this card?" I was very scared, even though I had my rabbit's foot in my pocket, because when I was a kid I always failed tests in school, and I spilled ink too. Let's go on to the classroom. There's actually a little link right here which will show you what the ink blot tests look like. It's called a Rorschach test. Unfortunately, when I tried to take this myself, it wouldn't let me get the results. So you may not get a result from this, but you can kind of see the pictures that he's given here with the ink. A lot of films tend to use these images, so you may have seen them before. But that's the image that Charlie, well, not the specific image, but this is very similar to what Charlie would be shown in this part of the story. I told him I saw an ink blot. He said yes, and it made me feel good. I thought that was all, but when I got up, he stopped me. He said, "Now sit down, Charlie, we aren't through yet." Then I don't remember so good, but he wanted me to say what was in the ink. I didn't see nothing in the ink, but he said there was pictures. Other people saw some pictures. I couldn't see any pictures. I really tried to see. I held the card close up and then far away. Then I said if I had my glasses I could see better. I usually only wear my glasses in the movies or TV. But I said they were in the closet in the hall. I got them. Then I said, "Let me see that card again. I bet I'll find it now." I tried hard, but I still couldn't find the pictures. I only saw the ink. I told him maybe I need new glasses. He wrote something down on a paper, and I got scared of failing the test. I told him it was a very nice ink blot, with little points all around the edges. He looked very sad, so that wasn't it. I said, "Please let me try again. I'll get it in a few minutes, because I'm not so fast sometimes. I'm a slow reader, too, in Miss Kenyon's class for slow adults, but I'm trying very hard." He gave me a chance with another card that had 2 kinds of ink spilled on it, red and blue. He was very nice and talked slow like Miss Kenyon does, and he explained to me that this was a raw shock. He said people see things in the ink. I said, "Show me where." He said, "Think." I told him, "I think a ink blot," but that wasn't right either. He said, "What does it remind you? Pretend something." I closed my eyes for a long time to pretend. I told him I pretend the fountain pen with ink leaking all over the tablecloth. Then he got up and went out. I don't think I passed the Rorschach test. Alright, so now we're on progress report number 3, March 7th. Dr. Strauss and Dr. Niemer say it don't matter about the ink blots. I told them I didn't spill the ink on the cards and I couldn't see anything in the ink. They said that maybe they will still use me. I said Miss Kenyon never gave me tests like that one, only spelling and reading. They said Miss Kenyon told that I was her bestest pupil in the adult night school because I tried the hardest and I really wanted to learn. They said, how come you went to the adult night school all by yourself, Charlie? How did you find it? I said I asked people and somebody told me where I should go learn to read good and spell good. They said, why did you want to? I told them because all my life I wanted to be smart and not dumb, but it's very hard to be smart. They said, you know it will probably be temporary. I said yes, Miss Kenyon told me. I don't care if it hurts. Later I had more tests today. The nice lady who gave it me told me the name, and I asked her how you spelled it so I can write it on my progress report. Thematic apperception test. I don't know the first 2 words, but I know what test means. You gotta pass it or you get bad marks. The test looked easy because I could see the pictures, only this time she didn't want me to tell her the pictures. That mixed me up. I said the man yesterday said I should tell him what I saw in the ink. She said that don't make no difference. She said make up stories about the people in the pictures. I told her, how can you tell stories about people you never met? I said, why should I make up lies? I never tell lies anymore because I always get caught. She told me this test and the other one, the Rorschach, was for getting personality. I laughed so hard. I said, how can you get that thing from ink blots and photos? She got sore and put her pictures away. I don't care. It was silly. I guess I failed that test too. Later, some men in white coats took me to a different part of the hospital and gave me a game to play. It was like a race with a white mouse. They called the mouse Algernon. Algernon was in a box with a lot of twists and turns, like all kinds of walls, and they gave me a pencil and paper with lines and lots of boxes. On one side it said start, and on the other it said finish. They said it was amazed, and that Algernon and me had the same amazed to do. I didn't see how we could have the same amazed if Algernon had a box and I had a paper, but I didn't say nothing. Anyways, there wasn't time because the race started. Alright, so this part can be a little confusing because he refers to it as amazed, but he is talking about a maze. If you've ever been to a corn maze before or been to a children's restaurant and there's a little maze on the menu, that's the type of maze they're talking about. So for Algernon the mouse, he has a physical maze that he has to solve that's built for him, while Charlie just has a little map sort of thing on a piece of paper, like a children's restaurant menu. I'll see if I can find one for you. So this type of maze is the one that Charlie's going to be doing, a paper maze, right, with just a pencil and paper. And then the mouse, Algernon, he's going to be using one of these type mazes where they actually physically put him inside of it and he has to solve it. Okay. One of the men had a watch. He was trying to hide so I wouldn't see it, so I tried not to look, and that made me nervous. Anyway, the test made me feel worser than all the others because they did it over 10 times with different amazeds, and Algernon won every time. I didn't know that mice were so smart. Maybe that's because Algernon is a white mouse. Maybe white mice are smarter than other mice. Alright, progress report 4, March 8th. So these are all so far day after day. They're going to use me. I'm so excited I can hardly write. Dr. Niemer and Dr. Strauss had an argument about it first. Dr. Niemer was in the office when Dr. Strauss brought me in. Dr. Niemer was worried about using me, but Dr. Strauss told him Miss Kenyon recommended me the best from all the people who she was teaching. I like Miss Kenyon because she's a very smart teacher, and she said, "Charlie, you're going to have a second chance. If you volunteer for this experiment, you might get smart. They don't know if it will be permanent, but there's a chance." That's why I said okay, even though I was scared, because she said it was an operation. She said, "Don't be scared, Charlie. You've done so much with so little. I think you deserve it most of all." So I got scared when Dr. Niemer and Dr. Strauss argued about it. Dr. Strauss said I had something that was very good. He said I had good motivation. I never even knew I had that. I felt so proud when he said that not everybody with an IQ of 68 had that thing. I don't know what it is or where I got it, but he said Algernon had it too. Algernon's motivation is the cheese they put in his box. But it can't be that because I didn't eat any cheese this week. So when he told Dr. Niemer something I didn't understand, so while they were talking, I wrote down some of the words. He said, "Dr. Niemer, I know Charlie is not what you had in mind as the first of your new breed of intellect," couldn't get the word, Superman, "but most people of his low ment are host and uncoop. They're usually dull, and hard to reach. He has a very good nature. He's interested and eager to please." Alright, so we can kind of get the words that these people are saying, even though Charlie can't, right? They're saying new breed of intellect. Most people with his low mentality are hostile and uncooperative. They're usually dull and apathetic and hard to reach. So they like that Charlie's so positive. Dr. Niemer said, "Remember, he will be the first human being ever to have his intelligence tripled by surgical means." Dr. Strauss said, "Exactly. Look at how well he's learned to read and write for his low mental age. It's as great an achieve as you and I learning Einstein's theory of without help. That shows the intense motivation. It's comparate achieve. I say we use Charlie." Alright, so I read it with Charlie's asterisk, but now I'll read it as normal. Okay, so Dr. Strauss said, "Exactly. Look at how well he's learned to read and write for his low mental age, and it's as great an achievement as you and I learning Einstein's theory of relativity without help. That shows the intense motivation. It's comparative to a tremendous achievement." I say we use Charlie. I didn't get all the words, and they were talking too fast, but it sounded like Dr. Strauss was on my side, and like the other one wasn't. Then Dr. Niemer nodded. He said, "All right, maybe you're right. We will use Charlie." When he said that, I got so excited I jumped up and shook his hand for being so good to me. I told him, "Thank you, Doc. You won't be sorry for giving me a second chance." And I mean it like I told him. After the operation, I'm going to try and be smart. I'm going to try awful hard. Alright, and this is the last progress report, which isn't very long. Alright, so this is number 5, March 10th. "I'm scared. Lots of people who work here, and the nurses, and the people who gave me the test came back to bring me candy and wish me luck. I only hope I have luck. I got my rabbit's foot and my lucky penny and my horseshoe. Only a black cat crossed me when I was coming to the hospital. Dr. Strauss says, 'Don't be superstitious, Charlie. This is science.' Anyway, I'm keeping my rabbit's foot with me. I asked Dr. Strauss if I'll beat Algernon in the race after the operation, and he said maybe. If the operation works, I'll show that mouse I can be as smart as he is, maybe smarter. Then I'll be able to read better and spell the words good and know lots of things and be like other people. I want to be smart like other people. If it works permanent, they will make everybody smart all over the world. They didn't give me anything to eat this morning. I don't know what that eating has to do with getting smart. I'm very hungry, and Dr. Niemer took away my box of candy. That Dr. Niemer is a grouch. Dr. Strauss says I can have it after the operation. You can't eat before the operation." And that's the end of our reading for today, so I will stop the video here.